Hi guys, welcome to Team Hustle Hard Training. It is the 27th of July, and today we're going to talk about how to form and build relationships throughout the process of using the funnel and talking to new clients plus customers. So I'm going to mute everybody real quick. And then we're going to get started. All right. Uh-oh. Why did it jump ahead? Hold on, guys. Okay, can you guys still hear me? I hope so. All right, so we're going to talk today about how to form and build relationships. So I just wanted to give a quick review today on what the funnel is, and how I'm going to kind of talk about this is through the steps of the funnel, just to make it pretty easy to follow. So typically your steps 1 and 2, you're going to be doing a like and comment on someone's page. Step 3 is our hey girl messages or our initial reach outs. Step 4 is another like and comment. Step 5 is when we're going to do an actual invite. And then 6 and 7 is a follow-up. So as we're kind of talking about forming relationships and talking to new clients, these are different areas that we're going to be building within. Okay, so throughout this presentation, you'll hear me talking about forming. This is a really great abbreviation for, I don't know if abbreviation is the right word. Basically what form stands for. Sorry guys, early morning. So these are different areas that you can form relationships within. One of the areas is about their family. So asking how old their kids are, if they just got married, things like that. Talking about their occupation. So if you see that they, on a picture at a desk or something like that, oh, what do you do for a living? If you see that they're not in a hospital attire, scrubs or something, oh, you wear scrubs, are you a nurse? Oh, I'm a nurse too, and using that as something to relate with. And then recreation. This is one I talk about a lot, especially because I talk to a lot of moms. So they'll post pictures out with their kids doing certain activities. And a lot of the people that I talk to live in Arizona. So if I see a picture, I'll ask them, where were you? That looks so much fun. Did your kids enjoy it? Things like that. Those are 3 great areas that people typically post about on social media, but also are ways that you can kind of relate to them. When you're forming, make sure that they're things that you're comfortable asking. I kind of ran into this the other day. I was talking to somebody, I asked them about their kids, and it's not like a best friend of mine or something, and they got like kind of weirded out that I was asking about their kids. So what I have now learned the hard way is that if you are talking about kids or something that might seem to someone, if you're not really close, make sure to mention like, hey, I know we're not besties in the message, or that you're a mom first, or why you're relating to them about that. And then the end of form is about the message. So in steps 1 and 2, when you're liking and commenting, these are great things to like and comment on their social media about their family, job, recreation. When you're sending a hey girl message, I typically will talk about one of these 3 things. How old your kids are, what do you do for a job? Oh, if so, how hard is it? What is your schedule like? Oh, I do this as well, whatever. So that's part of that initial message. But then also when you're doing your invite, though, these are all great things to know about a person, because they're going to help you better form not only a relationship, but understand what their need might be. We are not in the money making business, we're in the helping people business. So the more we know about people, the better we are able to help them. So something good to keep in mind. Okay, so sometimes when I've been talking to people, there's a couple things that I have struggled with, and something that I feel like is really important to know as a coach, that when you're talking to these people, it is not about us, it's about them. And the best way we can help them, like I was kind of talking about, is to ask questions to determine what is the most beneficial thing for them. Not what we've decided is best for them, but what is something that would actually be useful in their life. because this program is amazing. We all are here because we know it works, we know it's great, but it doesn't always fit for everybody. So we need to make sure that this is something that is going to work for them, because one, in that way, they will invest in the products as well, but maybe turn out to be some great coaches. And then they will also see the value in what we bring to the table as well as Beachbody does. So again, the better we know them as a person, the better coach we can be. That also goes into the part of, let's say someone does decide to get started with you and join a challenge group. There's some people who really just need that uplifting, positive type of coach. There's others who need kind of that tough love, being like, no, that's an excuse. You need to change, let's figure out a plan to move forward. You told me not to let you make excuses, so here I am. You getting to know them is going to help you better be a coach for them as well. So I did put a couple examples on here of good conversation starters. So this is typically going to be in step 5. When you sent them the invite initially saying, hey guys, or hey, whoever, I would love to have you in my challenge group. Let me know if you want the info. Usually there's a little more in there, but that's kind of the gist. These are some great questions to talk to them about during that conversation to get to know them, to determine if it's a good program for them. I always, if they respond, yes, I would love to know more about the challenge group, or how much does it cost, or what does it involve, or whatever, I always make sure to ask them if it's okay if I ask them some questions to figure out the best program for them. The main reason for this is, well, the first main reason is, one, we want to get to know them and want to know truly if this is a good program for them. 2, we're not here to sell them something. So when you just start shooting stuff to their inbox without their permission, which I know this has happened to all of us, or being added to a group or whatever, you just feel very like, whoa, this is not what I wanted. I don't want to have this conversation, and immediately shut down, even if this could be something that could be very beneficial for them. So asking them their permission, if it's okay to ask them some questions, kind of gives them, put their wall down and says, oh yeah, no problem, I'm comfortable with that. Also, health and fitness can be kind of a personal thing. Sometimes people have been struggling with their health and fitness their whole life, and or talking about, oh, I'd like to lose 20 pounds can be very personal. So making sure you get that level of trust and that permission is going to be huge. So regardless of where you put it in the conversation, make sure that you're asking them as you're moving along that it's okay. My first question to them is always talking about what their goals are, because our goals from them, just by looking at their profile, might be one thing, and their own personal goals may be another. And I remember Sam talking about this on a training, is that she used to go, when she first started, look at people's profiles and go, oh, this lady could use this program. Oh, maybe she would want to lose some weight. Oh, she seems kind of busy. She could use personal development, and kind of like deciding what would be beneficial from them. And a lot of times the people who you don't expect this program to be amazing for are the ones who love it the most, which is why we don't put our own beliefs on this. We don't put our own expectations on people. We truly offer this opportunity and this great program to everybody. And for those that feel like this would be great for them and fits their lifestyle and what they're looking for, this will be perfect. And for those that don't, it's not for everyone, and that's okay. So make sure to find out what their fitness goals are. Another great one I always like to touch on is if they're currently using a program, or if they have in the past. The main reason for this is sometimes people have trouble sticking to a program. One, so that might be good for you to know. One of my challengers right now has tried literally every program in the book. And the reason that she's not getting results isn't because she's, tried a bunch of programs and they just, she's invested and they're just not working. It's that she gets kind of fed up pretty quickly and gets overwhelmed and just stops. So she's somebody who I need to spend more time with initially to make sure that she understands the program, check in with her regularly, all of those things, so I can be a better coach. Some people have never tried anything in the past, and this is the first time in life that they feel like their health and fitness needs to be a priority. So with them, maybe strategically figuring out when they have blocks of time to work out, or what meal prepping is, guys. So a lot of this stuff we've been doing regularly, so we think that it's common sense. But for somebody who's starting from square one, it might be totally brand new. So something good to know. Also, I can't tell you how many people I know who are on a program right now with another company. It is not working, but they don't know what else to do. So finding out if they're already using another product is important. And then this is just another common question. What does your typical day look like for you? This is great for objections for people who say they don't have time, because, then figuring out for them, oh, well, do you come home and watch TV? Do you, this, that, or the other thing? A lot of those conversation pieces. So these are just some examples. On this video, once it's all recorded, I will post the conversation starters. There's examples in the back office, guys. So I challenge you to go back there and look under coach trainings, conversation starters. There's an entire list. Not saying that you need to go directly from that list, but it's always beneficial to kind of have some good ideas, because then that can help you as you're moving forward in the conversation. Okay, so this is something that I had no idea was a thing, but makes a lot of sense, because from my social work background, we always talk about meeting someone where they're at and validating their feelings, and understanding where they're coming from, and then moving forward in their journey. So feel, felt, found are 3 common terms that you're going to use in conversation with somebody, or versions of feel, felt, found. You don't have to use those exact words. To let people know that you're listening to them about where they're at, what their objection is, how they're feeling, what their concerns are, relating with them, to where they don't feel alone, that this is something that people go through. Others have felt this way before, even if it's not you per se. And then what have you found, or have people found, or Beachbody found, that can help with the original feeling that they're struggling with. So I did write an example. So I tried to kind of put it in my own verbiage, but everybody's different. So make sure when you're using feel, felt, found, it comes from the heart, and just talk how you would talk. So, man, I feel you, girlfriend. Being a busy mom can be so overwhelming and super stressful. It can be very hard to make time for yourself. I have felt that way too. Honestly, making any time to take care of me can be such a struggle, between cleaning the house, grocery shopping, cooking, working, the kids, etc. I mean, the list goes on, right? I have found that even though my life is a hot mess, I can squeeze in a 30-minute workout, either during naps or before my little baby girl wakes up. Does 30 minutes seem like something you could work into your schedule? Is there a good time of day you could set aside for you time? So something to keep in mind when you're using feel, felt, found. Now, this is kind of, a general. I try to write like I talk, so people feel like they're getting something from me. I also like to use the voice clip, which I'll kind of talk about how that works at the end, because then people really do get to hear you talk, which is really awesome and nice, and makes you more of a real person. But also, every time you're going through these conversations, one, try to not be super overwhelming with the long messages. Sometimes, depending on where you're at in the conversation, a long message really gets your point across. Sometimes, especially if you're talking about the actual products, people get super overwhelmed. If you're talking about things that could help them, I found that people don't seem to be as apprehensive about long messages. So just something to keep in mind. But the biggest part, always end with a question. Like we talked about initially, we're trying to get to know them. So, you don't want to make it about you. You don't want to end with, I mean, the list goes on, right? That's not a question that they're necessarily going to respond to, or something that they feel like they need to divulge information about themselves. So at the end, ending with, does 30 minutes sound like something that could work into your schedule? Most people are going to say yes. I've even asked them, 3 to 4 days a week, 4 to 5 times a week, so that they know kind of what the expectation for a program is going to be. Obviously, some of these programs go for 7 days, but if you're doing them 5 days a week, 4 days a week, you're going to get results. And that's what matters for someone investing in these programs. And then also, is there a good time of day? This question is because you really want to know and set up a plan with them, like how this is going to work for them in their life, how they're going to make time for their workouts, rather than just saying, can you work out? Because then people may be like, well, I could, but I don't know when. And then they're going through all of that. You take away all of their objections all at the same time with them. So like I was talking about, using the phone clip. So sometimes on Messenger, which is where I think most of us probably have a lot of our conversations, sometimes back and forth happens. The big thing I found with Messenger that's good and bad is that you can, people feel less like you're trying to per se sell them something, if you can go back and forth on Messenger. But you don't want to, what I call word vomit, and something I've done regularly. You want to go back and forth with them. You want to build that relationship. So ask them a question, let them respond. Validate, ask them a question, let them respond. So some of these conversations that you're having may not happen in one day. They may take 2 or 3 days. Sometimes I've been talking to people for over a week or two, partly because they may not respond right away. Most people aren't on Messenger as much as we are. Also, people may see your message and they're busy and forget to respond. So not only make sure to have that conversation be building, if for some reason someone was very engaged with you and all of a sudden stops, give them a day or two and then follow up with them. Because as busy people, we know sometimes that one conversation is not the forefront of your mind and you forgot, and that's okay. And so following up with them is always going to be huge. Making the conversations your own. If you do go in the back office and look at some of these scripts, also on the Hustle Hard page, I have uploaded scripts from people way smarter than me who've been doing this longer than me, some of my own personal scripts. Go ahead and look through them, but do not copy and paste them word for word. This is supposed to be you having a conversation with somebody. So talk like you. But back to using Messenger, when you're doing that, it can take a while. I have found that a lot of times people will respond to the voice clips, again, asking their permission. Some people may be sitting with their child on their chest and cannot listen to a voice clip. So saying, hey, when I'm explaining this stuff, sometimes I found it's easier. Do you mind if I use the voice clip to talk to you? And, oh yeah, no problem. And I'll hold the voice clip down and say, the same conversation or the same questions, and just be myself rather than sending it over a long typed message. Or what I found and what I pulled from Brigida, especially when you're talking about, let's say, like coaching, I want to get them on the phone. I want to talk to them like they're my friend, like they're going to be one of my coaches who I'm going to do these team calls with regularly. And and even when you're saying talk on the phone, saying, hey, I have a few minutes. Can I talk to you on the phone real quick and answer any questions you have, maybe after they've watched a webinar or something like that? That's going to get you the best results, because people are able to hear you talk to you. You're a real person. You're no longer a little keyboard behind their screen. So both of those, I would say, are really key, and I would try to use them as often as possible when building relationships, because it makes you, like I said, a real person. And when you are talking, make sure to, have that enthusiasm that you would have with someone who's sitting right in front of you, even though you're talking into a screen. Okay. Get out of here real quick. If it'll let me. Uh-oh. Okay, my screen froze. There we go. I don't know what's going on with my computer. Okay, so ladies, the big takeaway points from today are going to be that, obviously when you're talking to people, forming is really great, pulling from those recreation and occupation. That can be used in all steps of the funnel. So really making sure to follow up and find out information about them. And then that way, when you're talking to them, you understand how you are as a coach to them, but also how you can determine if this is a good program for them. Because like we said, it's not for everybody, but it can be really amazing for very many people. The other big piece is being real, being you when you're talking to people. Whether that's your language, how you would talk. I would say write like you're talking to your best friend, which for me uses a lot of like girlfriends and, ha-has, LOLs, whatever. And then the last piece is try to use the voice clip messenger app, as well as talk on the phone if you can, just because it's an easier way to form those relationships and to be real and to be you, rather than just being somebody behind a computer screen. I hope that helped everybody. Like I said, I'll post this recording in the team page. And Danae, I can post it in Bold Fitness as well. And then I know Sam next week, I think, told me she was going to do a tour of the back office, so you can see where all the back coaching, building relationships, forming, like their kind of version of it, is back there. Some good examples of conversation starters in case you get stuck. But I'll post the conversation starter questions because I thought they were really good in our team page as well. Let me unmute you guys. Oh, Lakin's unmuted already. Okay, I'm gonna. All right, does anybody have any questions before I stop the recording? No? Okay.